Hi, this is Tim Yoder with Fit Small Business. Today I'll be evaluating Patriot Accounting software for the Fit Small Business software case study. We'll be doing Chapter 1 today, which deals with basic company information. So I've already gone in and I've subscribed to a 30-day free trial of the software. I've done I believe they called it Premier Software for $25 a month. I've logged in. It used the wizard for me to import, not to import, but to input my company name and address, telephone number, and email address. It also had some really nice functions in the wizard that would allow you to import an existing chart of accounts and beginning balances, as well as importing all of your customers, invoices to those customers, vendors, and bills to those vendors. So that was all part of the setting up process, and that allowed you to import those items. Now, I didn't do any of that because I want to evaluate the software and what it's like to try to change things in the software itself rather than the wizard. But that wizard does exist, and it's very nice. And so one of the things we wanted to look for in Chapter 1 is, can you import your chart of accounts and import your beginning balances? Obviously, that's just a one-time thing when you initially set up the software, so that's a great place to have that in the wizard. So I did give it credit for being able to import that information. Okay, so now we're in the software itself, and this is the first time I've ever seen this software. So I'm kind of excited for this case study. So far, I really like what I've seen. So it looks fairly, at least the looks of it is very appealing, looks easy to use, unintimidating. Here we can manage our users. Here's kind of what we do with customers. We have a create invoice, and then we can receive payments from them. And here we can enter and pay bills to our vendors. So that's all on our dashboard. In our accounting tab, looks like we have kind of a general ledger, and then we're going to have receivables. So this all deals with customers and the products and services that we give them. We can actually, looks like we can create credits to our customers. So that's something missing in a lot of very low priced software. This is not super low price, but it is very affordable at $25. Our payables is here, so this is everything dealing with our vendors. And here you can print vendor checks. That's going to be something that's very nice. That's something I've never seen in another $25 program. That's something that generally you need the higher price software for. Okay, and then it looks like we've got some more of the advanced financial tasks. So we'll get to all of these things in a lot more depth in later chapters. This chapter is just kind of setting up the software and learning our way around. So that's the accounting tab over here. Let's go to our settings tab, is where we're going to probably do most of our setting up of the company. Let's look at our case study. So it gives us the name and address that we want. I've already put that in during the setup process. Our method of accounting is accrual. Our entity type is an S corporation, and our fiscal year end is December. So let's go down here into our company settings, and let's go to company information. And so I've been able to enter all of this information already. So our business type is an S corporation. I haven't found anywhere to enter our fiscal year end of December, or our accounting method as accrual. So it's not unusual not to be able to enter the accounting method as accrual. When you print reports, generally they're going to automatically print on the accrual basis because you're recording unpaid bills and invoices that have not yet been paid from your customers. So if you have those items, you are accrual basis. So it's not unusual to not have that option. But we'll see when we print reports. Maybe we'll be able to print them on cash and accrual. That's a later chapter. Okay, so one of the most important things we want to do in chapter 1 here is set up various classes for our products. So we have we're Fit HVAC and Plumbing is the name of the company, and so we're going to track plumbing, HVAC, and administrative all separately. And so a lot of software calls that classes. Over here in settings, I found those things in our manage departments. So they call them departments. And here I've already entered our 3 departments: administrative, HVAC, and plumbing. They're all active. If I needed to enter more, I could just by clicking add new. Now, we'd also like to track 2 locations, New York and Delaware, and I don't find anything in Patriot that allow for the locations. Now, I can't just add them as additional departments because I need to be able to assign both a location and a department to an expense or item of income. And so you can't just use departments to do both departments and locations, because I want to assign something to say New York and administrative. Okay, so I don't see anything, unfortunately, for locations, but perhaps we'll come across something else. Okay, so here's our accounting setup, chart of accounts, some templates we'll probably play with later, contractor settings, all very good. Seems very easy to find the things I'm looking for. Okay, so now I do have a chart of accounts that I want to set up here. So I'm going to go to chart of accounts. And I'm not going to use account numbers. So depending on how large your company is, you may or may not want account numbers. They used to be a lot more important than they are now. Okay, so we need to make sure we have a checking account, a savings account, and a petty cash account, or just a cash account. Yes, we already have all three of those, so that's great. I want an accounts receivable account. Oh yeah, here we go. Accounts receivable account. It is not active. I probably have to actually make an entry to the account. So it's already there. I think it'll be active once I actually bill a customer, thus creating an accounts receivable. I want an inventory account. So I don't have an inventory account yet. So let's add new inventory. And it's going to be an asset account. And let's see if there's a subtype of inventory. There's not. So this program is not going to have any inventory accounting. Otherwise, it would have to have an inventory type of an asset type of inventory. So that we can still create an asset, call it inventory, put it as an other asset, but the program is not going to calculate our cost of goods sold for us. And so that means this probably is not going to be a great accounting program if you have inventory. Generally, when you have inventory, you have to go for a little bit more higher priced program, like perhaps QuickBooks Online Plus or Xero, or Zoho Books has good inventory accounting. Okay, other asset accounts I need equipment, vehicles, accumulated depreciation. So I will add those. Those are three more accounts to add. I need accounts payable. I need a credit card payable. I'm going to have to add the credit card payable. Loan payable. Okay, so I do need a few accounts here. I'm just going to go through and add some accounts. I'm going to pause the video so you don't have to watch me do this, but you saw how I did the first one. Very, very easy to add accounts. So let me go ahead and get the accounts in here that I need. Okay, so I'm back. That did not take long at all. Worked exactly as I thought it would work, as I showed you with the sample account I did set up. So no surprises, went very good. It got all my accounts set up. I just noticed here we can actually click and drag these accounts around to the order that we want the accounts. And so I want my petty cash to be my very first asset account, and then checking, savings, accounts receivable. Generally, you go from short-term assets to long-term assets. So everything else looks good there. Accounts payable, sales tax collected, credit memo liability. That's kind of interesting. Payroll tax, credit card payable, loan payable. Okay, so all of those look good. The only thing I couldn't do is I wanted to change this owner's equity because we're an S corporation to retained earnings, but I couldn't do that, and I don't just want to create a new account because this is a system account. And so at the end of the year, it's going to close our net income into this owner's equity account. And so I don't want to just create a retained earnings account as a new account because it needs to have net income closed to it. And so we're just going to go ahead and leave it as owner's equity, and that's fine. It's just a different name, same purpose. Okay, now I want to enter my beginning balances. So it did give me the opportunity to transfer over my beginning balances, but now that I'm here, can I enter them manually? Edit, add subs. Okay, well, let's go. So I certainly don't see it here. Let's go back to our settings. We may have to make a journal entry. Okay. Connect bank account. Yeah, I'm not seeing anywhere to actually enter the beginning balances. Let's go to our accounting. What about our general ledger? Okay, so this is just a report of our general ledger. Okay, here we actually have accounting basis. accrual modified cash. Okay. So again, so yeah, so the that's what I thought. The accounting basis is not set in the settings. It's when you run a report, you choose, do you want cash or do you want accrual? Okay, so I believe the only way we're going to get beginning balances in here is to do a journal entry. So I'm going to go down here into our financial tasks and let's just make a journal entry. So these are our beginning balances. So I'm going to make this journal entry as of 12/31 of last year. Describe it as beginning balances. I'm not going to assign this to a particular department, but here's where we set up our departments. Now we can assign all transactions to a particular department. Okay, so I'm going to go through here and just okay, tell you what I'm going to do. If you're not an accountant and you like to use the increase decrease here, you can. That's just going to confuse me, so I want to use debits and credits. Kind of cool that it lets you flip back and forth between the two, but I want to use debits and credits. So petty cash of $1,000, checking of 10,000, savings of 150,000, equipment of 75,000, vehicles of 60,000, accumulated depreciation of 115,000. That's a credit. Okay. Credit card payable of 6,000. That's a credit. Common stock is a credit of 1,000, and additional paid in capital is a credit of 20,000, and then our last entry is to retained earnings, which this program is calling owner's equity, which is fine, and that is 154,000. Now hopefully our increases and our debits and credits are going to equal, and they do, and good. So all of those were just purely off of my my trial balances given in the case study. So here, if we wanted to attach some sort of documentation to our journal entry, we could. I'm not going to, but that's nice to know it's there. And let's hit post entry. One of the accounts you are attempting to use for this journal entry is an accrual account. If you save this entry, you will only be able to switch between modified cash and accrual basis. Do you want to save this entry? Yes. Okay, very good. Now we have our 2021 entries in, so let's go back to our settings and our company info, and now let's close the book so nobody accidentally goes in and incorrectly changes information from that prior year. Now where did I see close books? Well, I know I saw it. No, that's not it. Okay. Was it under accounting? Yeah, here we go. Close period. Okay, use this page to create and post the journal entries needed to close your selected accounting period. Okay, so we actually don't have anything to close here. So I thought this was going to lock the accounting period. That's why I kind of thought it would be in settings. This is actually making closing entries to close the accounting period. So to to, so for instance, if you're not an accountant, you may not understand this, but you need to close your income and expense accounts for a period into your equity accounts so that your income and expenses reset to zero for next year. So that's what this is doing. Lets you do that. Okay. And actually interesting. So you can actually choose the equity account you want to use here. And so I said that that the program would automatically make it to owner's equity, but here you could actually make it to anything you wanted to, but we would choose owner's equity. Okay, so that's not quite what I thought it was. That's not locking the books. Okay, so almost done with our case study here. So we need to have an additional user. In addition to myself, I want to add a Jane Doe. And give her only the rights to record and pay bills. So let's say she is going to be our accounts payable manager. And so let's go to, within the settings, we had our users. Okay, manage users. Okay, here I am already an active user. Let's add another one. So this $25 plan, by the way, comes with unlimited users, which is very cool. So we're just going to have to make up an email for Jane Doe. Okay, so what do we want her to be able to do? We don't want her to do any of this kind of administrative stuff to the company. We want her to be able to manage the payables and vendors. Okay, and you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's let her manage receipts and documents because she may want to have to upload some receipts or something. Okay, so very good. Add user. That's very nice to be able to. So here you'd have, this would be your accounts receivable manager, and then the payables is the accounts payable manager. So very nice duty segregation we can do to limit the access of our various users. Very cool. Okay, and so that is it for chapter 1. Let's go ahead and score Patriot Accounting software in our scorecard here for our rubric. So we were able to do all the basic company information just fine. We were not able to record a fiscal year in, which is really not a big deal at all. We were able to create 3 classes, but we couldn't create locations. We were able to easily modify the chart of accounts. To input our beginning balances, we had to use a journal entry, so I'm only going to give half a point. Close the books. We were not able to close the books. That feature wasn't what I thought it was. We were easily able to add an additional user and restrict the rights of that additional user. During the setup process, the wizard, when you the first time you enter your program, the wizard will let you import the chart of accounts and import the beginning balances. So Patriot did very good. I'm very excited to continue this case study. Hopefully you will follow me along with the next video, which is chapter 2. So this is Tim Yoder with Fit Small Business, and I hope this was a helpful introduction to Patriot Accounting software.